Hey everybody, this is Sean Shelton here with another little practice for you guys. Um, in most of my videos, you probably noticed that I don't really play music, and I do that for several reasons. One is with yoga, we're trying to teach focus, and a lot of times the music is actually an external distraction. Neither here nor there, really. If you want to have music on, that's a good thing as well. It has its benefits to have it on in the background. But this sort of gives you the ability to deal with or work with both. If you want to have music on now, you can play your own personal music. And over time, if you've been working with this video for a while, maybe you want to start experimenting a little bit with having a quieter space, toning down the music a little bit or something like that. This is a yin practice, so try to play some calmer music. It will actually help you with your nervous system. So we'll go ahead and get started. And then as we go through the practice, I'll do some explaining of what this practice is and sort of the difference of this practice versus, a flow practice or something like that. But if you can, I just want you to come to a nice, comfortable seated position. Sitting up nice and tall, turn the palms up, pointer finger, thumbs touch, expand the fingers, close your eyes, and breathe. So personally, I like to have still a full and complete breath, but a diminished sound quality to the breath. So not like your flow classes, but that strong breath. But ultimately, I just want to feel that I can calm my breath. I still like to feel the movement, but a sense of calming rushing through the body. I'm smoothing out the edges of my breath, looking for areas of aggravation, agitation, places my body can release already just sitting here. And keeping the same sense of calm, let's go ahead and fold the body forward, release the hands forward, and just come down. Now, it doesn't matter how low we go. I don't really care if you're all the way down or not. It doesn't matter. If you're not all the way down, you want to stack your hands or blocks even, and put your forehead on something. Feel free to do that. If you can expand the arms out in front and bring the body all the way down, do that as well. And if folding causes any sort of aggravation in the shoulders or the neck, feel free to move it. Maybe even take the arms behind your back. You can grab opposite elbows or grab your wrists. This can help soften the shoulders so they don't have to engage. Ultimately, what we're doing is we're looking and scanning through the body and finding areas of aggravation in the body. In a yang style or flow style movement practice, you're building a lot of strength in the muscles while lengthening into other muscles, and there's a lot of movement associated, a lot of blood flow, a lot of heat. This being a very opposite style of practice, we're still going to take deep, deep stretches and movements, but ideally you're taking them as passively as possible. If you're an extremely active person, your body's going to have a lot of tone in it, meaning that the muscle tissue is going to hold a lot of neurological activity. Even at rest, we can have upwards of 20% of those tonic muscles still firing, still holding some tone. Yin practice can help us
achieve a deeper state of relaxation and maybe cut down on that percentage when we are at rest. So in this way, it can help us sleep.
Inhale, take it out to the other side. We'll take it to the right side. There you exhale, fold. So ideally, I'm coming over my knee, but that may not happen. No big deal. Again, you can stack your arms. You can stack onto your fists. You can stack onto blocks, however you need to maybe rest the head. In yin, it's important because, again, going back to the way the nervous system is firing, the more grounded it is, the more safe it feels, the more likely it's going to start getting rid of some of that neurological agitation. This particular yin practice, I would like to stay focused primarily on the hips. We'll end up doing a lot of deep hip movement, deep hip poses. And occasionally we might get mild interruptions with a dog in front of the camera trying to steal the show, or my son coming into the picture or making noises in the background. Just try to stay nice and calm if you hear those things, and remember to stay focused on an even steadiness of breath. About 30 more seconds. So in terms of anatomy and understanding the body a little more, the proprioception and interoception. Interoception is just a form of proprioception. And really, in yoga, let's go ahead and inhale it up. Take it over to the other side. Exhale, fold. We're trying to develop proprioception, but more so we're trying to develop interoception where we're able to feel the inside of the body. So proprioception would just be knowing where the body is, even if we cannot see it. It still has a feeling of its orientation within space. And we need to develop this skill, but more importantly, developing the skill of knowing where your inner body is in space, because we most assuredly cannot see the inner body. We can only feel it. And unfortunately, many of us have a very diminished quality of being able to sense the inner body, the inner experience. We're way too outward in our fingertips and our hands. And this is just by design. So it takes a little effort, a little energy, a little inner work to feel that space inside. Again, just breathing fully into your body. No need to breathe with sound, but with a sense of calming. And when we're feeling the inner body, what are we feeling for? Little quaking, little clenching, almost a feeling of nervousness in various parts of the body. Certainly aches and pains, major tensions might scream the loudest, and they're important, don't get me wrong. But all too often, they're not actually the bigger issue. The bigger issue is in those quieter muscles, in those quieter areas of the body. If we can learn to listen to them and calm them, eventually the whole system starts to become a little more calm, a little less agitated. 10 more seconds here.
I'm starting with bent knees because I like to clear out my glutes and clear out my hips a little before working on straight legs. Makes things a little easier. Inhale, head up. Come back to center. You can release your legs and shake them out. Maybe a little side to side motion. Letting the space in here kind of relax for a second. Don't be surprised if there's a little extra tension when we come out of poses. Maybe not that one, but as things get a little deeper, certainly. So what I'm going to do here is take my legs in a nice wide leg butterfly. So there's lots of space here. Imagine that if I'm folding and I were coming down and my face were to come down, it'd come down right into the cradle of the feet. So a little wider than probably what you would think. And then go ahead and come down. At this point, I want to start edging up our practice. I'm going to start maybe holding some of these poses here for about 3 minutes. As you become more and more comfortable with your practice, you're going to want to work on bringing your time up. And as always, I encourage all of you to practice with the teacher. These videos should only be a supplement. But I also encourage you to start practicing on your own without the videos and using the videos after you've learned some of these sequences as a jumping off point for developing your own understanding of your body and your practice. I encourage you to work on poses that are challenging for you more than easy for you. For me, yoga is about moving towards challenge. We develop and refine our focus and our level of understanding of the world when we move towards challenge, and we fortify ourselves against life's many, many volatile moments. When we move towards challenge, we become more optimistic and more caring, and we become more compassionate towards people because we start to understand more thoroughly life's many hurdles. Good, one more minute. And again, the hands, as usual, can stack. And stack your arms. Anything you need to. Remember these things for other poses, they're important. You can take the arms behind your back if you're feeling any sort of extra tension happening in the head or the neck. All of those things are good. Those little aggravations in the head and neck, they contribute. Like I said, they may feel smaller or less important than the hips, but they are still very important. Good. Inhale, come on up. I like to isolate sides here. Take my right leg back and then fold. I do this because, for one, it allows you to move deeper than you would with both legs. It's got half the tissue that it has to work through and the same amount of weight. So you are putting more weight onto the one side. That's going to force that side to go deeper than it did before. But I also do this because it starts to give me awareness in my inner body of the challenges that the two sides of my body are faced with. Both sides of my body are very different. One side might have more aggravation, more agitation, more tightness, have certain bodily patterns that are causing pain in my day-to-day life. And this allows me to start to understand and get to know those things so that I can work with them in other aspects of my practice. For example, I know that my external rotation is better on my left. My adductors are more open. That's the inner thighs. The piriformis is more able to do its job. All the external rotators are able to do the work. I don't need to put as much energy and attention on this side when it comes to those things. I want to start developing a little more patterned balance in my hips. This comes with time and energy and feeling. And surprisingly, you do not need to know anatomy to feel these things and start working with these things. You just need to be in your body, not in your fingertips, not in your toes, but inside deep, feeling what's going on, not reaching for things that don't belong to you, but noticing you as you are. About 30 more seconds here. Again, scanning, feeling. Nothing else to do. Releasing. Good. Inhale, come on up. And take this right leg back out and match it up with the left. You do that just to make sure that I'm working each side with a sense of symmetry to it. Even though they are different, kind of want to get a baseline and then fold. Again, about 3 minutes here. You see, for me, this side's tighter. My body wants to ideally stop around here. I can't just drop my head down. So I'll start by stacking. By putting something on my forehead, it tells my posterior chain, which is normally very, very tonic, has a little extra neurological activity, that it doesn't need to hold me up. It doesn't need to be a part of this. If it does its job correctly, maybe I can come down a little lower. And then maybe I can come all the way down. And I can. But you do it slow. No reason to rush. You listen and you feel that the differences are there. And through some of the discomfort that we feel in some of these poses, it's possible that the brain starts to let go enough that you start feeling a little sleepy. That's a good thing. Scanning and feeling.
And there's nothing really to do. It's not like you need to fight for depth.
You just provide your body grounding. Let the nervous system quiet itself. The pulling you feel will do its magic on your fascia, and all you have to do is observe. Observe and relax the shoulders. Observe and unclench your teeth. Observe and unclench the inner body. Again, you're just looking around and feeling and seeing and noticing where any sort of quaking, fear, nervousness, tension that you may have control over. 10 more seconds. I'll give you a little extra time and you'll come on up. Take both legs out. Let's shake them out a little. Get a massage in the muscles. It's okay. Just get the blood flow kind of going back into your legs, to your feet, your toes, your shoulders, your head. And then we're going to come on to our knees. We're going to come to tabletop. From tabletop, I just want a little bit of motion in my hips, so I'm going to do cat-cow. A little bit of motion in my spine. And I'm just doing this. I'll generate a little blood flow in the body. Give your joints and things a little bit of time to kind of recover from movements. Any unorganized movement is fine. Anything you need. No big deal. No big deal. So I'm kind of going to stick with the theme of that external rotation for the front leg at least. And we're going to come forward into pigeon pose. And provide a little bit of an opportunity to explore where you need to go. You can have the foot all the way inside and start to rotate. And inside, that's going to start externally rotating the hip until maybe one day this comes all the way in by your left hand. It isn't necessary to go that far. Again, just feel. And I'm going to start to settle back. As we settle back, I'm taking a yin-like approach to this. I'm not trying to stack my body up over my hips if it's not fully comfortable to do so. But you'll notice I'm not exactly folding just yet either. I'm allowing my left hip to settle. Now I'm going to fold. And again, don't feel the need to go all the way down if the body isn't ready. It might take a little while for the hip to open. Maybe you're just not there yet in your practice. It's no big deal. In the interest of time and some other poses I'd like to get through, we're going to try to keep this to 3 minutes. But as you develop into your practice, I encourage you to move up to 5 and maybe even 10. It's going to obviously make our practice a little long, especially if we're trying to do all the poses. You might just need to isolate the things that are going to help you the most in your practice. As you start to open up maybe a little more, you can start to work down. 2 minutes left. Maybe you can lay all the way down. Maybe you can even do as much as extend your arms. I know from experience that we tend to pick the practices that cater to our strengths.
We don't tend to pick the practices that are going to challenge us the most and cater to our weaknesses.
For somebody who's very physically active, maybe you run a lot or do a lot of weightlifting, sometimes the flow classes can seem a little more appealing. And these yin practices can be very daunting.
You might have to be in some pretty uncomfortable poses for a long time, practicing calming while feeling an extreme, overwhelming amount of agitation in the body could be very daunting. On the flip side, if you find yin to be extremely easy and comfortable for you, then you probably should be doing a lot more flow classes and finding the balance of both to build strength and mobility within your body and your joints.
20 seconds left. You can, as always, exit poses early and re-enter them if I'm still doing them. Do what you have to do
And work the way you need to work. And let's slowly go. Take your time. Exit the way you need to. Maybe just kick that leg around. Again, any unorganized movements will be a hit. Cat-cow, a little side to side with the hips. Anything you need to feel a little more comfortable in your body. Then when you feel ready, take that left knee in by the left wrist. Maybe start to adjust by rotating this up. I definitely don't want you to feel knee pain while doing any of these things. And then start to settle your hip back. Now remember, this right hip just went through this pose on the other side. It might feel a little grumpy trying to go into it right away. Give it a little time to settle back. And then let's hold. 3. No reason to go all the way down. So this practice has been going for about a half an hour. If you think about it, we haven't done that many poses, but already a lot of effect is happening inside your body and in your hips. If you were to increase the time, we would have already done about an hour's worth of practice. It's something to think about when you're doing some of this work. And it's never quite enough, right? It's always something else we can find. But the best yoga practice that we have is the one that we do. And that's important. You don't feel like you have to try to get it all done. And don't feel like if you can't get it all done, you just shouldn't do it. 15 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever you got, whatever you can give. For that time, give it everything you've got. And you'll be surprised the exchange that you make with yoga, the fruits that you receive for doing the practice. If you can, at this point, you've been in the pose now for a little while, have about a minute and 10 seconds left, see if you can release down a little more.
Notice the changes and fluctuations in your breath and in your mind. As you work deeper, the breath becomes more agitated. Can you bring it back to a sense of calm, regardless of what the body is feeling? Is that possible? And slowly bring it up. In exactly the same way that you came into it. Slowly, right? Take your time. Getting back to tape. And kick that leg out. Just get some motion in there. Just like to swivel it back and forth. Maybe a little circles if that feels good. And at this point, let's go ahead and curl the toes under, let the hips settle down and lift into a downward dog. And pedal out the legs and move. I'm really just trying to free this up. I'm trying to get blood flow in there and a little bit of movement into the joint to kind of relieve some of the tension from that experience. All right, and we're going to step forward with the right leg and settle the left knee down. Right foot can be in line with the hip or a little outside, it's totally okay. And then bring the body up. Started the timer for 3 minutes again. I'm going to lean a little bit forward. So really, it's this left hip now that I'm working on. Getting the external rotators a little opportunity to relax. I find this supposed to be interesting because even though I'm really just trying to sink down into my bones, because again, I'm not trying to be muscular about it. There's a little teeter totter, there's a little wavering that sometimes happens, especially if I'm a little tight, which I am. Every few breaths, I'm just trying to sink a little more. There it is, a minute and 10 seconds left. Placing your hands wherever they need to go that you can feel like you can just root in your bones. I mostly just want you to feel this leg and this experience in the hip flexors. And slowly coming off the joint. Come down onto your hands.
Roll the toes under, press back, and just pedal out the legs. Good. And then step the left leg forward and put the right knee down. And the same thing. I'm just pushing my hips forward, but I'm not doing it actively. So maybe they don't want to. That's okay. I don't need to sit here and fight it. I'm not taking a yang approach to it. I'm taking a yin approach to it. I'm essentially allowing gravity to do the work. Over time, the nervous system will give up, will calm down, and allow me to explore deeper. The fascia will hopefully start responding over time and gain more length, and therefore less tension will communicate less tension in the body, allowing the nervous system to feel more free. It's a lot of automatic processes in the body, protecting the body, adjusting the body, tonifying and releasing at a moment's notice at the perception of falling or weakness or tensions in order to find its own balance. And there's a lot of wisdom within the body to govern that on its own, with or without your input. In fact, your input means very little for a lot of those systems. It's just what it's doing naturally. Again, your job is to just feel internally aches, quaking, shaking, shoulders, neck, inner pelvis, hips, calming what you can. What you can't, let go of it. Don't worry about it right now. Move on. Don't get stuck. Don't stay in that space. Find something else you can work on. 20 seconds left. Slowly coming off those joints, coming down to the hands, and gently stepping back. Notice I'm moving slow. I'm just exploring. Sometimes the body allows you to move quick. A lot of times it doesn't. Just take your time. Get that extra motion there. Okay. And then I'm going to come a little bit forward on the mat. And I'm going to sit down in between my feet. For some of us, this is easy to do, and for others, it's really not. If it's not at all, here's what I don't really want you to experience. I don't want you to feel a sudden amount of pressure and pain developing in your knee capsule, specifically on these outer edges. But if you do, come out of the pose a little bit, put some blankets, bolsters, whatever you need underneath your butt, something that you can sit all the way down on. You can work against your couch or a wall, something to support the back as you start to lean back. And over time, you'll be able to lay all the way down. It might look something like this, where you just come down onto the elbows. Readjust the hips. And then maybe it allows you to release a little deeper. You can readjust the hips, right? You can work your way down, but I only want you doing it again. You don't feel a lot of pain, no pain really in the knees at all. And I'm going to do 5 minutes for this pose. Put the hands across your belly. I like doing this because it reminds me to keep my sensations in this pelvic area. So maybe on the belly or a little lower below the navel. And feeling what kind of things are happening inside and working on calming the internal experience. Another way to adjust this pose, if necessary, would be to just take the knees wider. If the knees kind of start floating off the mat as you lay down, that's okay. We're taking a yin approach. I'm not trying to force anything to be anything other than what it is, and I'm trying to notice that experience. Try to calm yourself where you can. It's highly possible that when you entered the pose, you did not experience an issue. No knee pain, no tension in the capsules of the knees. But this can change, especially when we're in a pose for 5 minutes. It's important that you honor and respect what the knees are telling you. In practice, we work heavily kind of with sensations that might happen in close to the joints. But knees are one area I don't really like to mess with. I don't think that it's particularly safe for a person's practice to not respect those sensations that are coming up into the body. Minute and 30 seconds left. Always willing to exit early, change or modify or adapt. If you've seen in the beginning of my video, it says to practice fearlessly and to adapt. An important element of our practice is this ability to adapt or to change to the truth of a situation. And we tend to be very headstrong, with too many attachments and things. It might make us think that we can just stay in it regardless and not pay attention. Pay attention. Very slowly. Exit the pose. Maybe coming onto the elbows. Slowly walking it back. Then bring my feet in for a second and just sit down on the heels. Puts my legs in a slightly different position, which kind of helps relieve some of that tension. And then coming forward into that tabletop position. Shuffle out those legs, move things around, come into a down dog possibly, and start pedaling out the legs. Feel. There's going to be tension. There's going to be times where you come out of a yin pose. It doesn't feel good in the beginning. That's okay. It's normal. It's natural. Don't judge the sensations. Just notice them and feel them and see. Hopefully, with a few movements of the legs, you can start to feel a little bit better. I'm going to come down and sit down on my butt. I lie down on my back. This pose is not the same, although it seems the same. I'm going to adjust a little bit more on my hip. I'm going to take the feet out to the side of my mat. I'm going to let the legs fall to the left. As they do, I'm going to look down across my leg and look towards my right knee and see that my knee, my hip, and my shoulder are more or less in one line. And then I can just relax. If it feels comfortable and okay, I can take my left foot and bring it on top of my right leg to give it a little downward pressure. Again, I'm not really fighting this. I'm not pushing my leg down so much just as allowing the weight of my leg to naturally push down. I'm going to be here for 2 minutes. And if you're feeling pressure in that knee capsule and that left foot's on top, remove it. Need that extra weight. Place the hands and the arms wherever they may feel comfortable. Just scanning the body again for areas of tension, discomfort. Yin to me is a practice of patience. Yoga in general is a practice of patience, but Yin has a tendency to call out things a little differently than a flow practice might. Slowly take the left foot off, draw the knees towards each other, and then pick them up. And take them side to side for a moment. Take
Feet out to the side again, let the legs go out to the left. And if it feels comfortable, after you look down across to check to make sure that knee, hip, and the shoulder are more or less in one line.
About 20 seconds left.
So we take the right foot off at the top, slide the knees towards each other, and circle them back up. And you can adjust yourself, move things around.
All right, we're going to do one more. Very similar pose again. I want you to bring the feet up off the mat. Take your right leg up and over your left leg. And you're going to hook it up, if possible, just like you would an eagle. And take the legs over the left as you reach the right arm over your shoulder and look over the right. Again, there's no reason to force these movements. If you want, you can take your left arm up over your head. If this starts to create a numbness sensation in your shoulders, just bring it down by your side. You can also uncross your knee if at any time this is too much pressure. You can also use a pillow or a bolster or anything between your legs. It's possible to feel a lot of tension in your ribs. It's normal. Maybe you feel it in your glutes and your hips. That's also normal. Just and observe. It's always exciting at our house, all the noises and things that could potentially happen. Mom, 30 seconds left. That'll do. Guarding the house. Good job.
And slowly roll to your left. Roll to the left so that you can comfortably untwist the legs. Lay on the left side for a few moments while the spine to unravel. We have the other side to do, and I don't want to rush myself to get in it. Moving on to the back. Take the left leg down. Try to hook it up. Good. And then let it fall to the right.
And look over your left. And that right arm can come up overhead. Notice the asymmetries in the body. Take them in for future practice, future understanding and development. A little more than halfway there. Last 30 seconds.
And slowly roll to your right.
Cross the legs. Just lay on your right side. Slowly rolling onto your back. Allow the arms to come over your head. Relax the arms. If this is uncomfortable, you can bring them by your side. Take your feet wide and allow the legs to relax and the body to relax. Coming into a final rest for your practice. I'm going to allow you to lay here and take rest as long as you would like. Good amount of time, maybe 10 minutes or even longer. Exiting when you feel comfortable to exit. And I want to thank all of you for checking out this video and doing the practice. Thank you for your practice. Keep coming to your mat. Thank you for your hard work. Namaste.